Bad Larry.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Bad Larry Kingdom. I'm your host, Bad Larry, and we are looking at Cyclops, issue number 3. This Ben Harvey variant cover in the middle depicting Cyclops in his original costume is my favorite. I think it's the fact that he's smiling, enjoying taking out the Sentinels is what does it for me. But this main cover by Vincentini, I gave a C- for 2 reasons. Number 1, only drawing barely the top half of the character seems like a phone in my opinion. And 2, it's not really a spoiler, but this cover shows Cyclops battling an enemy in the water. Well, that never happens in this issue, so it's a bit like false advertising. The cover should be foreshadowing the contents inside, so the cover's a bit misleading. Pac Nadell is the writer, and Antonio is on the pencils. This issue is titled Seeing Red Part 3. Y'all know what's up. Let's jump into it. Donald Pierce and his new Reaver team are having personnel problems. You see, they're using mutant teens as forced labor slaves to mine a mysterious ore in the mountains of British Columbia. This poor young mutant was pushed beyond the limits. Push it to the limit. He has phasing powers like Shadowcat, but in order for him to use his powers, he has to hold his breath. Now the boy is dead, half in and half out the rocks. I can appreciate Pacnadal writing new characters only to kill them off. That's tough. We think or maybe assume that any mutant that is out there is overpowered or somehow has plot armor, but sometimes, hey, the bad guys do be killing, and in this case, this mutant is a tragic victim. The coldness of Donald Pierce is presented well. Being mostly a robot shows he's cold, but also the fact he only sees these mutants as tools like a hammer or a wrench makes him more of a monster than a villain. I love the names of these characters. Blitz Tempo calls into Donald Pierce reporting that End Zone is dead. Again, Donald Pierce is cold as ice. He really doesn't care too much about either of these fools. I will admit it, going from the 1964 Spider-Man issues to this, the gratuitous amount of blood, it shows these new comics are more for the mature reader. Or maybe we've all become more desensitized to the gore and now we expect these stories to deliver more blood and guts. I don't know. Anyway, Tearjerker in his final moment reveals to Blitz Tempo that Tearjerker is responsible for killing him, not just cannibalizing his parts. Not cool, bro. Cyclops is still walking around the woods blind as a bat, but he's also severely wounded with this huge ass piece of wood sticking out his sides. He's following May, the young mutant who escaped from Donald Pierce's camp. They're trying to find Cyclops' crashed Quinjet. May's kind of pissed that she missed the whole Krakoan nation life. But sometimes, you know what? Shit happens. You miss the boat. Don't need to keep going on and on about it like a little baby. Meanwhile, Cyclops is almost about to bleed out and die. You see him crying like a little bitch? No. You know why? He's a real G, a real soldier. May has that attitudinal problem. No respect. But hey, they're getting close to the crash site. But Cyclops collapses. May finally realizes the severity of the moment. May has that super strength powers, but when she's scared, she's about as strong as a wet paper towel. Clearly, she's scared right now. This must be excruciating for Cyclops. You know, I had this tiny sliver the other day in my finger. It felt like my finger was going to fall off. Cyclops has a whole tiny desk jutting out from his ribs, and a kid yanking on it with no success can't be feeling too good at the moment. Cyclops is not only a great leader, but he's a great teacher. He learned from the best. He's teaching May the DDT triangle trick. In order for May to focus, Cyclops uses this triangle trick to eliminate her fear, get her focused up. It seems to be working. Oh, the humanity. Again with the blood and guts. Well, now Cyclops must stop the bleeding or he is really cooked tunas and there is no more lives anymore. Game over is now game over. We rarely get an opportunity to find out what are in those pockets that Cyclops keeps around his belt. What's in those little pockets? He has a wound sealant spray. A good soldier always carries some sort of first aid with him in the field. May is seeing herself in the blood, and this is like a come to Jesus moment. She realizes she needs to fall more in line with Cyclops, listen to him more, because shit is getting real out here. Cyclops and May finally reach the Quinjet crash site. We get another example of experience and training saving the day. May can see just fine, but just because she can see doesn't mean she's observant. Cyclops' skills are exemplary. He knows, there's something fishy going on here. Somehow Cyclops can feel the incoming bomb. Time to run another way! The explosion is awesome! My boy Cyclops is tough as hell. Who says Wolverine is the toughest? My guy's out here with no vision and no healing factor, taking mass damage, and I still believe he's gonna win. Well, it's Cyclops' comic. His name is on the front. He kind of has to win. I love it when the enemy is cocky, overly confident. That's when they usually make a mistake. Cyclops goes for the headbutt, but old mate's head is mostly metal now. Ouch. And Tearjerker has the audacity to try and rock Cyclops' ruby quartz shades? How rude. Cyclops, shaky as ever, seemingly cooked, is trying to plead with Tearjerker because when the animal is put with its back against the wall, like Cyclops is right here, well, that's when the animal is real violent and lets loose. Tearjerker is, well, a jerk, destroying the glasses. He should not have done that. Now Cyclops is really pissed. Blitz Tempo is a villain, but she's less villainish than Tearjerker. She snatches up May and orders them to get a grip. We gotta get back to base. We got a little team infighting going on, which is a perfect opportunity to counter strike. Cyclops gives May the command, the triangle trick. Get that super strength in the game, baby. May proves to Cyclops she's a quick learner. She gets the triangle trick down and is about to go iron fisting on Blitz Tempo. May's out here thinking she's a one punch man. The blow is immense. She literally knocks the electricity out of Blitz Tempo. Tempo means time. I think Blitz Tempo's time is up. This is pretty badass. She punched a hole right through her. Super punch power. As a reference, this isn't the first time Cyclops instructed one of his young female students to execute a murder, death, kill. 10 points to anyone who knows that movie reference. Because back in 2011 in X-Men Schism number 3, Cyclops tells the young Temper, who's still going by her real name, Heidi, to go ahead and murder some Hellfire goons. And to be fair, they had it coming. But 15 years later, we see Cyclops having to do the same thing again, here with young May. The difference is that Heidi was tougher than May is here. Hey, she had a worse childhood. I mean, May being a mutant slave isn't great, but everything is comparative, right? Heidi could handle the weight of killing an entire group of goons, while May loses it from killing one cyborg lady who was enslaving her and her friends. So May is now traumatized. May's fight or flight response is maxed out, and she chooses flight. I get it. She's a runner. She's a track star. Cyclops is also at his limit. He didn't know how May was going to react. He didn't know her exact power level. I mean, he just met her moments ago, and now he sees she's traumatized because of what these Reaver idiots have done. I said earlier, when the dangerous animal is cornered, that's when it's the most dangerous. Cyclops is a dangerous animal, and Tearjerker just felt the raw power of Cyclops' optic blast. I don't think Donald Pierce is going to be able to put this Humpty Dumpty back together again. I love how they drew the image to look blurry to show the entire world is shaking from Cyclops' power, ripping the mountain in two. Totally awesome. May barely escapes herself, but where's she even going to go? Well, that answers that. She's going nowhere because old Donald Pierce has her wrapped up. How is Cyclops going to be able to save her now? Well, first, Cyclops needs to crawl his ass from under the rubble. His student, his ward, is kidnapped again. He needs to keep his wits about him, which I know he will. I can't believe Tearjerker isn't dead, but he is mostly robot, so getting blown apart isn't necessarily a death sentence. I love this panel. Tearjerker taps out, man, like an MMA fight. He knows he's beaten. He literally says to Cyclops, well, you won, but this crazy mofo thinks Cyclops is going to help him for some reason? He's crazier than old Britney Spears. In many wars, the soldiers and marines would often pick up the defeated enemy's weapons, like an AK 47, for example, because sometimes those AK 47s were more durable in the mud, like in the Vietnam War. We see that is what Cyclops is doing here, collecting his defeated enemy's gear for his own use. The bandana wrap reminds me of Rambo. I don't know why he wears it. It's not like it can do anything to stop his powers. I think it's just there to help him, remind him to keep his eyes closed. Tearjerker thinks he's talking to Captain America or something like that, but he ain't. He's talking to a stone cold killer soldier. Cyclops is always holding back, but here the Reavers are letting a soldier out. Best page of the issue. My guy's out here looking like Cable. Tearjerker thought he was talking to Wolverine, something putting him out of his misery. Cyclops says, nah, I'm more dangerous than Wolverine because I ain't got no love for you fools. They're about to find out how dangerous Cyclops really is. Badass issue. Next issue looks like Old Testament justice out here that Cyclops is about to deliver to the Reavers. Eye for an eye, because Cyclops, eyes are his thing. Very cool. And RIP to Sal Buscema. It seems like all my favorite writers and artists are passing away. This guy was one of the greats. This issue was awesome. I absolutely loved it. Some of the art could have been better, but overall, I am super pumped to see what happens next. And that's the point of these comics, these stories. Keep you coming back for more. Comment down below your favorite Cyclops costume. Hit the like button. See you real soon. Peace.